Hey you little cuties, Demi here and welcome to a new series called Sew With Me, and it's gonna be a kind of loose, rough, kind of wham bam DIYs that I do for myself, because oftentimes I don't take the time to calculate out patterns for myself or make a part of it look pretty, and you'll see in this DIY the back of the bralette, it's a little janky. Oftentimes I won't cover inside seams, I won't make things look perfect and pretty just because it's for me. No one else is gonna see it and I don't really care. So that's kind of what this series is. It's going to be a wild ride. So let's get started on today's bralette. Alright you guys, you are going to need something to have a pattern from, like an old bralette or an actual pattern or something maybe that you've made. I'm just going to use an old bralette. You're going to need something to trace onto if you don't have a pattern. You're going to need something to mark with, and any array of cutting utensils. I have a lot because they all do different things. You're going to need fabric. I'm using an old dress that I don't wear anymore. And you're also going to need some elastic, a ruler, and potentially a seam ripper. I ended up actually just cutting the cup out of the bra instead of seam ripping it. It was just much quicker. I don't need to seam rip. It doesn't have to look super pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and seam rip the dart out of this as well, and then trace around the cup and trace out the dart too. If you have a cup that's gathered at the bottom, obviously there will be no dart, so don't worry about it. You can just leave that and then skip any dart processes from this video. So after I've cut that out, I decide to trace this bad boy out. I'm really just using a Sharpie so that it shows up better, but you can use a pencil. I would recommend a pencil in case you make any mistakes and you can just erase them. And make sure that if you are going to copy a dart, that you copy both of the legs and the apex of it as well. I'm using my ruler to make sure that the darts are nice and straight. And then we're going to cut this out. Make sure that on your pattern, if you're making your own, that you label what part is the center and what part is the side. I forgot to do that, so I had to sort of cross-reference my bralette that I cut from. And then go ahead and cut out the dart. And then we are going to make sure that this fits our boob pretty well. So I just tested that, it fit pretty good. So now we're going to go ahead and cut this out of our fabric. Make sure that you have the right sides of the fabric together, or like the pretty or good sides that'll show. And then pin this down. I had a hard time pinning it down, so I ended up just putting heavy things on it because my fabric had a weird finishing on it. If you are using another article of clothing, like I am using an old dress, make sure that you strategically place the cup when you're cutting it out. I'm also going to make a band that goes around, and you'll need space to cut the band out, so make sure that you leave enough room for that. And now, for some reason, I went insane and cut the dart out. Please do not cut the dart out if you are going to do a dart. Mark the dart with a pencil or chalk or something and sew it together and then cut the excess off. Don't do it backwards how I did it. It'll make your life so much easier. So now I am measuring out the band. I measured around my under boob area, I guess, around my rib cage, and my measurement came out to 32. And I'm actually going to add in some straps from an old broken bra that I have. So I'm just going to leave it at 32 because I don't need any extra seam allowance or anything like that. And then I'm measuring it 2 inches wide. And that will be the thickness that goes around your rib cage. Alright, now we are going back to our fabric And make sure that if you are using spare clothing that you cut on the fold, because chances are you won't have a lot of fabric to lose, and I did want it to be a thicker band, and this just helps us eliminate the need for a second seam allowance. So go ahead, cut that bad boy out. Alright, now that we have this cut out, make sure that you keep it right sides together, and that long raw edge we are going to sew. Also for the cups, sew your darts, and then you're going to sew the side seams for the cups as well. And don't forget to mark your pieces so you know which one goes where. And make sure that for the band you just sew the long side. We're going to be flipping this inside out. And for the cups, unless you'd like them to look extra pretty on the inside, you don't need to hem up the bottom of the cup. I didn't do it on mine because I don't really care too much. Alright, so now go ahead, cut off all your extra little strings, and flip your band inside out. Make sure your cups are fitting pretty good. You can just hold them up there, see how they feel. And then once we have this guy all turned inside out, so now that it's right side out, we are going to cut these straps, or I mean if you just have bra straps that you've purchased, you can just add those in. I had to cut mine off, obviously. And then when I'm sticking them in the end of the band, I'm making sure that I'm rolling the band inside of itself so that it makes a pretty edge. And then I'm also sewing down the bottom edge of the band as well. Make sure when you're doing this that you put your straps where, or your clips where you want them. Alright, and now we are going to find the center of our band, and we are going to mark it with a pin, with chalk, with whatever, and we are going to place our cups on top of the band, making sure that our cups are on the appropriate side of the band so that when we clip it, our cups aren't inside out. So we're gonna go ahead and just pin those down. The bralette that I had overlapped about a ½ inch in the middle, so that's what I'm measuring there, and then you're gonna go ahead and sew along the top side or top edge of the band, sewing the cups onto the band. Alright, now that we have this, we're going to go ahead and cut out our elastic for the straps. Since I am using another bralette, I just measured the length of those bands and then just cut 2 of those out. I believe it was about 12 inches for me. And there I was just measuring the center to the end of the strap so I knew where to attach it to the back. And here I'm just clipping again because my fabric is pretty thick. You can definitely pin yours. And then I'm just going to measure, figure out where my straps need to be on the back, and then pin those, and then we're going to sew those down. Once you have everything together, before you've sewn it down, do try it on and see if it fits and see if there's any adjustments that need to be made. I originally had tried to sew this on my machine, but the fabric was just a little bit too wonky. I'm not super familiar with it, so I just decided to hand sew it, and that worked out all the same. Alright, and we are just about to, I guess, me modeling it to show you how it fits. It did gape a little bit on the side of my boobs, but I don't really mind. That's definitely something you can make adjustments for. I think that this is pretty comfortable, and as long as you're basing it off of something that you know fits you, if you just have an old holy bra like myself, then I think you'll be pretty good to go. This is definitely a pattern I'm going to save and probably make a billion bralettes from. Anyways, you guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for hanging out. Let me know how this video came out, since this is kind of the first of its kind. And anyways, again, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you little cuties in the next one. Bye!